11. The program is 11 at 11, heard each and every Thursday evening, Leil Shishi, at 11 p.m. on 620 WSNR radio. And we're also broadcasting on video on our own YouTube channel, 11 at 11. And I want to give a thank you to Hefgewelt that's putting out our videos. And I'm asking each and every person to become a chelik of this Torah revolution. And the way that you do this is you spread around the video. We also have, Baruch Hashem, we have to make a shechianu that we have a brand new hotline number. That's right. You can now hear our program 24/6 on a hotline. You call up the number and you follow the instructions. And I'm going to give this number several times. B'li neder. I'm going to try to remember to give this number during the course of the program. The hotline number, 11 at 11. The hotline number is 641-715-3900. Again, 641-715-3900. And then they ask you for an extension number. It's 247656. Again, 247656. So again, the hotline number is 641-715-3900. And the extension is 247656. We have many new features in this week's program, but first we're going to begin by giving a synopsis of what what I'm going to try to cover over this next 58 minutes. We're going to inaugurate today, in honor of the fact that we're inaugurating a hotline, in honor of the fact that we're inaugurating our own video channel, 11 at 11. We are going to also inaugurate a feature that we might do every week. We might do it every several weeks, but it's called Shout Out to Reb Aaron. Shout out to Reb Aaron Kotler. No, I didn't mean the Godel. I meant the Godel of the CEOs, Aaron Kotler. And we'll explain that later. Then we're going to have a second item, Sephardic acclaim or Sephardic shame. What's happening this past week in the Sephardic community? Then we're going to have item number 3, Alan Fagan, boss of the OU, executive vice president. What can I say? Oh, you. Or, I fagin him nicht. Is the OU kosher? Are they doing kosher things? Let's talk about the hashkafic kashrus of the OU and Alan Fagan. Number 4, David, fake news, headlines Liechtenstein, is at it again, trying to shecht Rev Yidel Shane of Lakewood, New Jersey, in front of the nation of the Hebrews, or was it Hebrew national shchita? We'll discuss David's late shenanigans. Number 5, title of Asconim and Grasshoppers. Maybe Asconim or Mechalal Hashem are potter because we can hold like David, headlines Liechtenstein. Just like homosexuals have an excuse. According to the way Rav David learns Pshat and Tosfos says it's an oinus. So they're an oinus. They can't control themselves. They have a predetermined predilection and preorientation. And David boldly pronounced, because he's also not only the huge Talmud Chacham, and he has a wealthy of facts, but he also is very wealthy in science. So he said that science proves that they're born this way, or a certain amount of them were born this way. So let's apply David's concept of predetermination and orientation by Mishkevei Zocha. Let's apply it to Asconim. And we're going to demonstrate that Asconim have a predetermined preorientation to do the chanfarai and the chazarai that they do. And we'll elaborate on that. So if we're going to go with Liechtenstein's logic, we got to give a betur not only to the homosexuals, we got to give a betur to the Askanim. Because I think I found a genetic source of Askanim that caused them to be an Einis. And that genetic source is grasshoppers. Stay tuned, and I will absolutely explain it. Number 6. Vaishnu micholam. We're embarrassed from all the rest of the Welt, the Gentile world. Take a look at what's going on out there in the big wide world. We can shemzich from the positive activism of the Tovim Sheba'umas. And most of us, Torah people, do not know, do not perceive what's going on in that big wide world, and that there are many, many, many Gentiles who are doing the equivalent of Mesiras Nefesh to speak up and to fight for morality publicly and to do all kinds of things. And somehow we think we have a heta because we're in Golus and we don't have to do anything. And Avad Gevist, if we'd have to do, our Askanim are taking care of it, like Agudath Yisrael and OU. Fagin Minish Kenkashes, they're taking care of it. Lubavitch is definitely taking care of it. Avad Gevist. But it's Baba Mises. They're not taking care of anything. And we're going to explain why it's so important what the Gentiles are doing and how this obligates us halachically. And that brings us to number 7, especially in light of the psak of the great Goyim of Shlomo Zalman Braun, the Shianim Etzion Bahalacha, that way back in 1985, Lemisparim, when I ran for mayor of New York against Edward I. Koch and 2 other liberal candidates, and took the headlines in the one debate sponsored by the New York Times. I took the headlines in the Post, in the Daily News, and the picture, and the most exciting part of the debate, according to the New York Times, was yours truly, a shlucha d'Rabbanan of Rav Avigdor Miller, the Kasher Rav, the Derbertziner Rav, so many others. So at that time, I went to the Sharm Mitzion Balacha, and I had a fascinating episode with him. And he wrote something, Halacha L'maisa, which is Machayev each and every one of us. And I want to share that with you a little later in the program. Number 8. You didn't have enough yet? You want some more? Okay. I'll give you some more. Here we go. 30 former homosexuals and transgenders, Gentiles, Balei Tshuva, from California, may want to be on the David Lichtenstein Headlines Fake News program. They've got something to say, but he's probably too chicken to have them on, the same way he's too chicken to play the tape, unexpurgated, unadulterated, David, of the whole hour and 15 minutes, where I smacked you around, Ziskite, logically, step by step. You had to resort to the chicken of slicing and dicing, like you did recently with Rabbi Yidel Shane, and you've done it with others. So, let's get started now. First, we begin right in Lakewood. And I want to give you a great mazel tov, all of you residents of Lakewood, Ir Ve'envi Yisrael, the Ir HaTorah, the most comprehensive concentration of B'nai Torah, maybe outside B'nai Brak, maybe even including B'nai Brak. I don't know exactly the statistics of B'nai Brak and Yerushalayim. Wherever I say, congratulations. In your local public library, they are celebrating for a full month, Gay Pride Month. They're celebrating it in the adult library. They're celebrating it in the children's section of the library. They're celebrating it. Hishamu Lacha, to let your children go there. They're showing movies, and if you call up the library or you go online or whatever, there's a whole list of things that they're doing, including this Friday, tomorrow, June 15th. Be very careful, your kid shouldn't be there. They have movies and they have programs literally indoctrinating the children in appreciation and respect for diverse lifestyles, the Mishkevei Zacha lifestyle. This happens every year. This is funded by Ocean County, and nobody is doing anything about it. Really, there should be a Kiddush Hashem. There should be 50 people standing there with signs, especially Erev Shabbos on Friday. We don't celebrate deviance. We don't celebrate perversion. We do not take pride in private misbehavior, and certainly not in public misbehavior. There should be signs. Keep our children pure. By the way, I saw on the internet somewhere one of the, I don't know which one, was it Yeshiva World or Matzav, one of them had that Fox News did a special program about Frume Yidden, Charedim, and the internet. And they had different snippets of Rev. Ephraim Waxman that he spoke, I think, in 2012 in Misparim when we had that big thing in City Field. And tried to be masber. So you see that Fox News is interested in this. By the way, Fox News has a higher rating, a lot higher than CNN, and maybe even than some of the networks like NBC, ABC, etc. So you see that they are interested. They are interested. And why shouldn't you give them something that will guaranteed bring down the media? To have 40, 50 people. So, I asked around and I was told the answer. Because in Lakewood, if the top people, Askanim and Rabbonim, Rosh Yeshiva, do not give the word, everybody has an excuse. We're medayik from the fact that the Rabbonim, the Rosh Yeshiva didn't say. Mimele darf man gar nicht tun, nicht nur dem, sie können sein, als sie es gar eine Mitzvah. Das meint als die Stieke. Lass mich reden, Lomdisch, Rabbi sei. Also wie, wenn ein Mensch tragt Zitzes, 24/7, Leute Arisa, tragt es Tag und Nacht, es Mekayim, Lechol HaPoches bei, hat Schmire 24/7, und Lechol HaPoches, es Mekayim, die ganze Zeit, was es lichtig in Dresden, it's light outside, every minute is a mitzvah of tzitzis, which is Keneged Taryag. When a man has a bris milah, so 24/7, he gets chusim, click, 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 the clicker is going. Gewaldig. That's how we get nitzchias by Hashem. You have no idea, we have millions and billions of mitzvahs. So lemaitza mitzvah lishmeya divrei chachomim. Es can sein, das is echt that click, 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 click when we listen. And now we can say, I love this. I'm sure David Liechtenstein would agree, the grace of lib. The Rabbonim, the Rosh Yeshivas are not saying anything about the homosexual displays and the movies and the books and the emphasis in the libraries where so many children go for assignments. And the Askanim and Reb Aaron HaGodol. No, not the Stolner, the Godel, the Anak, the CEO of Lakewood. Since he didn't give the command of the Askanim to do something about it, so Mimele, mit der Verstehen, es ist Porsche gar außer zu tun. Das ist manchmal Merida zu tun. Das ist mit Sachen klar Yisrael zu machen als Amachor. Als in die Ehe, wie Yisrael, wie sie vor allem Tausende Bnei Teira und die Shei klar Yisrael Chashuvim, sie soll gehen allein, ohne Rishus, gehen, fahr der Library und stehen mit Signs, sagen, we want purity for our children. This is not appropriate. This is not the community standards. That the media would definitely come down and people would see the Gentiles who were doing things, the Gentiles who were sitting in their house, and the Gentiles who were part, many more Republicans and Democrats in Ocean County. It's basically a conservative district. They would say Yasher Keach, and maybe they would join, and the Simcha would be great. But nay, we darf gar nicht tun. Miklal lav atashemei hein, so miklal hein atashemei lav. Since they didn't say, hey, do it, obviously it's a love, it's a deraisa. It could be mamish your over. If you go do such a thing individually, it could be that you're over Chilul Hashem of not respecting the Gedolei Elam and the CEO. That's why I want to join me in giving a shout out to Rev Aaron. Rev Aaron, how about it? How about unleashing some of the moral tide in Lakewood? Let 40 or 50 people go outside this Friday or throughout the month of June when the ganze month is Tumah month, right in the center of Lakewood. Let them go out with signs. That's number one. Number two, Rev Aaron. The fact of the matter is, this is county funding the city library. You have to find out from all your political connections and all your lawyers and all the things. Make believe it was a government program for the yeshiva, for the kollel. This is also for the yeshiva and for the kollel, and this is for the benefit of everybody, even the proste balabatim, that we shouldn't have a kittig of Shmutz in Lakewood. Find out, is it true that you could put pressure on some of the freeholders and Mamela and Ocean County that they should not vote to fund this thing? We don't want it in the Lakewood Library. We don't want it funded. Find out if the city government could do anything about it. Find out if, even as a token, the lawyer for the city of Lakewood could sue the county or sue the library. We don't want this because this is hurting our kids. Let's not be defeatist. If it was a geschmack government program, a housing grant, something to be able to build, noch a binyan, to do noch a zach, mach a bessere zoning, you would give sich an eitzah. Go with a little Messias Nefesh. So everybody should call up Aaron and tell him, Rabbi Aaron, when you find the time, we want you to meet a few of these freeholders and tell them, Herzchaim, if they're not going to make a tumult, they're not going to defund, they're not going to do everything in this possibility, we're going to take a few political scalps and vote against them. Mimele, wir darf lernen von anderen diverse Chaloken von Klal Yisrael. Wir darf gehen mit der Sturm. Wir darf tun, wir darf bringen der Shefa, limato me'asoro tfochim mamish, hashto bagala didan. Wir soll sich tun am Meise von Messias Nefesh mamish. Azoi, wie unsere Freien haben gegangen mit Hackeisen, sie haben gehackt, Eisen erhackt, der Eis in den Mitten der Winter, in gegangen Tevelin als Kedusha Vetaro. Jetzt mir bet nur, als Reb Aaron HaGodl soll sich losen, reden mit der Rosh Yeshiva, mit der Choshev Rabbonim, mit der Choshev Botei Din, und beten Rachmim, bebechias und betachnunem. He should cry tears to the Rosh Yeshivas and Rabbis. Please, let us make a macho. Efshetake, the Rosh Yeshivas allein. Ui, ui, ui. Der Efshetake, the Rosh Yeshivas allein shall a reis kommen. Und stehen für eine halbe Stunde. Warte, noch Seder. Es ist ein langer Shabbos Kedesh. Was ist ein besserer Achone für Kedusha Shabbos? Wie zu Meche sein, to protest on this filth that's in the libraries, that is literally trying to explain to children, Heather has two mommies and he has two daddies, and there's books and lists, it's all there. And programs for teens, replete with programs. So, Efshe mit Avgein, mit Azami, Mishiras, Nefesh, wie die Tatus und die Mames mit auf sich stürmen und mit Meile wird sicher sein, zu sehen, nissen die Flois, bei Golodi dann, wie die Tatus und Mames, was haben gegangen, mit Messias Nefesh, haben gesehen, bei Yomim Oheim. Remember, who was it, the Almeida, who thought a lady, a hussy, Hussy, a princess-stick lady was wearing a red beged, and he thought it was a Jew, and he ripped it from her or something, and the Gemara reports he paid a huge fine. Zetman, the Gemara holds it choshev that we should be moicha yidden for tznius. What's the heta? Because we're in Golis. When we go ski tripping in the Aspen, or we go to Alaska or to the North Pole, maybe we shouldn't be going because we're in Golis, but we all take vacations, Caribbean cruises, Alle gute Sache, and the hotels are full Pesach. We lobby for money in Washington, Ahin, Aher, Trenton. So, Rabbi, so you get the idea. So now, Baruch Eimer Ve'esa, put your phone on the automatic that you can put it and hide your number if you're afraid. And call up Rabbi Aaron. Ich tue ma chesed. He should hear from Amcha that they want him to do something to speak with the freeholders and to arrange that there should be a protest against a whole chodesh long in the Lakewood libraries for kids, not just adults, for kids. So Aaron's number, 732-666-8255. 642-5557. Again, Aaron Kotler, CEO of Lakewood. Ish Anak, the giant Askin, 732-642-5557. Call them up and say, please, can you talk to the freeholders? Please, can you get together, Rabbi Weisberg and Rabbi Shenkalevsky and alle the Askonim and the mayor and the Rosh Hashanah and the Kemidimen, sie sollen alle Areis kommen mit der Rebbes und Rosh Yeshivas und afilu, hört Achidush, Rabbi sei, hört Achidush, afilu, ob sie wollen nicht peilen, safe, call safe, weil es constitutionally am Mitzvah und davon der Cheretz verchitum Chadmini, wenn mich gewesen solche Ton Chasner haben eine mit die zweite und der Lesbier ist haben Chasner eine mit die zweite Ker. Es ist aber constitutional, und Mail, wir können gar nicht tun. Aber später in unser Programm, later in our program, we can explain that the Gentiles are not spoiled, that it's settled law and they can't do. As I'm going to report to you tonight, they continue to do. Thousands of them and millions of them give money to organizations that do. Why are we potter, Rabbi Say? So lass mir sagen, es ist nicht praktisch. Kann gar nicht tun, es ist schon gesettelt. It's settled. So what about the Indian Macho? Macho could have saved the Beis HaMikdash. It wouldn't have been destroyed. The Gemara says, Midashasak oidi oidi, midolei michu. You understand how important Macho is, Rabbi Say? My rabbis taught me. The Rav Avigdor Miller, the Derbertziner of Shmutz Baloche, people who had Shimish by. Macho is the ganze Inyan. Winning and losing, that's up to God. Macho, we have to do what we can to protest. Number 2, Sephardic acclaim or Sephardic shame. The Sephardic community in our areas, Brooklyn, New Jersey, they're growing by leaps and bounds. They're increasing their Torah. They're upgrading tremendously. They gave us the Gewaldige Godel Hador, Rav Ovadia Yosef Zetzal, and so many more. I wonder if anybody from the Sephardic community asks Rav Harari Raful, the Rosh Yeshiva of the Sephardic Yeshiva, or Rav Chaim Ben Ulil, the Rosh Yeshiva of the other Sephardic Yeshiva, Mikdash Melech. Rav Harari Raful is on the Matzis Gedolei HaTorah. Does anybody from Yeshiva Magen David, a huge edifice, ask if it's appropriate several years after der Eisworf, Andrew Cuomo, twisted arms and pushed through, as he promised, Mishkav Zochen marriage, aside from the fact, as a Kleinigkeit, he said that he's going full force against Simcha Felder. What was Simcha Felder doing? Stand up for yeshivas. Halavai that Simcha Felder should stand up for morality a tenth as much as he stood up for the yeshivas in this latest situation that's still ongoing. So Cuomo, if you're not capable, Rabbi say, of understanding that we have to have fight, we have to loathe what this guy Cuomo is doing to us, because he codified homosexual marriage in New York, and that had a profound influence on the Supreme Court, and therefore the country and the world by extension. And this Oitz of Russia comes, and in the Jewish newspaper that's just from the 14th of June, which is today, there's an article that in Magen David, he was greeted like a rock star, This is what they're saying. The applause before he started in the Hanifa. Nobody does it like the Haimi town. Fruma can do it. The Hanifa, baby, it's such an extreme. They don't get it, not from the Puerto Ricans, not from the Irish, not from the Saudis, not from the Pakistanis. Nobody chanfas like we chanfa. Nobody chanfas. So it was a big love fest. And in case that wasn't enough, there were plenty of dignitaries there to kiss Cuomo. When you make such a big kisserai in Hanifa, before the Nishika, you should say, Ali Shem Yichud, Henenim Muchon, Mizumon, Lekayem, Mitzveh, Lechoinev, as HaRoshe, Rosh HaMemsholah Shel Medinas New York, Kidei Shehu Yitin Lonu Kesef, 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 VaKesef Yanes Hakel. You don't have to think about anything else. It's mutar lechatchila because it's David Liechtenstein wine. Everybody knows that the Jews are against it. So we're only honoring Cuomo for the money he gives us. He didn't say the last part, but he said the first part. That's how he drayed Reb Moshe. He drayed Reb Moshe Shaloi Halacha. He's Messiah for Reb Moshe. Notice everybody knows there's a new Liechtensteinian heta, but it's not just Liechtenstein. Obviously, it's the OU. Because Alan Fagan, the big boss of the OU, the Aaron Kotler, CEO of the OU, or something like that, the executive vice president, was there to Hanfa also. It's unbelievable. The food, maybe it's kosher, hopefully it's kosher. The hashkafa, chazet treif. The same OU that puts on the front page Joe Lieberman. He pushes gays in the military. He pushes Mishkav Zacham marriage. He says that I don't make a bracha shalei Hashan Isha because he said on the IMAS program years ago because it's discriminatory. And this is the OU. Rabbi Sai, don't you understand why we're having problems with kids being molested and adultery in our community and Shmutz is because the simple things that the Gentiles do to fight against this, whether they can win it or not, we, the Feinschmeckers, do not do. And that's why this program now, at this late stage in the developing culture, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given me the opportunity to speak to you on the radio, and now on the hotline, and now on the video. I'm not going to say this frequently. I am not a proud man. I'm telling you, that halachically, I could substantiate, I am considered an oni ve'evyain. I do not have a lot of money. And I am paying the expenses involved with this weekly program out of my own pocket for 1.5 years. I got so far, one time somebody gave me $200. Now there's a new audience. I'm doing this because my Rebbeim, principally Reb Miller, but others gave me this job assignment and gave me shimush for many years. And there's an opportunity, and I've got to cry out in the center of the city. There is so many millions of dollars out there. There are big gevirim. I'm not asking chas v'sholom that for all my time and effort I should be compensated. But if there are people who could help me to sponsor this program, just to pay the exact cost of the program, not for me, chas v'shalom, just to pay for the exact cost of the program for a week, for 2 weeks, for a month. There are people out there who could sneeze on a handkerchief and they can pay for a month. Please, I can be contacted at rabbilevin@gmail.com. rabbilevin@gmail.com. I am choking from holding on to this radio program every week. It's on the credit card every week. And I'm doing it. And believe me, as much as HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives me koyach until I max out on the cards, I will be doing it. But I could really, really use the help. Join me with this mitzvah. The concept is b'mokem, that nobody else is doing, and you become a shutaf and do. And a few thousand people hear this, and Chaver Israel, if they pass around the videos, and they tell people about the hotline, they tell people about the radio program, they become a shutaf. But you're funding some of this. You have no idea the Kiddush Hashem, you have no idea what you gain. So anyhow, the Sephardic community is aping the Ashkenaz and Hasidic and Yeshivish communities of Hanifa l'Rishoyim, kissing up to the lowlifes. No pride at all. No pride. He can go and make laws that brought a mabul to the world in the time of Noach, and we'll clap with him not just a respectful clapping, with enthusiasm, like a rock star. I wonder if Harari Raful or Rav Ben Ulil or Rav Malkiel Kotler would walk into Magen David with the teachers, the educators, the principals, have them greeting with the same ferociousness, with the same decibel breaking level of enthusiasm, rock star status to these Anoshim Gedolim like they did for this Menuvel, Nemukishrin, Oisvarf. Something to think about, yeah? We are equal opportunity criticizers. We don't concentrate on any one community. There's enough room in the basement for everybody, and there's enough room in the attic for everybody. People shouldn't be able to say, we didn't know, nobody told us. Now you know. Let's move on. David, fake news headlines, slice and dice and David. He's up to his old liberal tricks again. He puts on Rabbi Shame, who's mamash a muncha in hashgachas, in shchita, and what's going on. He knows the inside scoop. And he was very upset, I understand, Rabbi Shame, because they were talking about stunning the animal and washing with hot water afterwards and this and that. I'm not going to get into the protocol because, frankly, I didn't see the show. I just heard it was conveyed to me. It was conveyed to me that he was very upset. Rabbi Shane is probably on his website. So you see, it's not the only one that David Liechtenstein is doing this to. And I guarantee you, if we look back on his programs, we see other people who he did the same thing to, who are frustrated. And then there are certain people who I know will not go on his program, certain Rabbanim, because they're afraid of this. I was told that when he had Rabbi Moshe Sternbuch, he was trying desperately to get Rabbi Moshe Sternbuch to say certain things. He didn't say it. David, I love you personally. You're fine, you're sweet. But you can't go with this veneer of you're giving an objective Talmud Chacham type thing when you have your own agenda. If you just write David Liechtenstein's take on headlines and halacha, just let the people know. Give one of those disclaimers like they have in the station after my program. The preceding program is the thoughts and opinions of so-and-so. It does not necessarily reflect the Das Torah of Reb Moshe, Anoshim Gedolim, Shulchan Aruch, the Hashkafa. It does reflect David Liechtenstein slicing and dicing. Give that, and nobody has a time on you. Everybody knows what they're in for. But instead, all these B'nai Torah who call up on your rhythm, they talk to you in such David, Efshar Hazai. Grow up. It's Chil Hashem, some of the things he's doing. He's brainwashing people. And that gets us to today's Devar Torah. As we hit the half an hour mark of this program, La Cosa Nostra, this little thing of ours, as we reach the halfway mark on this little thing of ours, our little thing, yeah. You understand? Standing up for Kvei Shamayim. Let me give you again, in case some of you didn't have a chance to get a pen, Aaron Kotler's number. And you could use it for other things. You can call the yeshiva office also. I don't have their number. Call the yeshiva office. You're worried that it's not their cheres to call them on the cell phone. I'm sorry, they gave me the cell phone number. Call them at the yeshiva office. Say, call up. And when you get the secretary of Beis Medrash Gavoa, say, I would like to speak to da 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 da. That's the music from The Godfather. It's like Michael, that I know this. I know a little bit about the culture. It was from the 1960s or the early 1970s. Say, I want to speak to Capo de Tutte Capo. So the secretary will say, what? Because she's an Erliche Yidna. She's a Yidna that belongs to be outside the library protesting for the Kedusha of our kids. So she's manning the phone. I say, oh, I meant the chief CEO. Capo de Tutte Capo is a little Italian lingo for the Godfather, the top of the heap, the head of the mob. Call up and leave your message there. Aaron, I'd like you to do something with this. Aaron, could Askanim do something with that? There's plenty of stuff. This is not the only thing going on in Lakewood. This is not the only piece of legislation. Recently, they passed all kinds of chazarai for transgenderism. Where were the Yidden? Where was Aaron? Where was Askanim? In Boiberik. So here's Aaron's number. 732-642-5557. Again, 732-642-5557. Maybe you're afraid they'll kick you out of the yeshiva, that your kids can't go to school, or he and her. So they told me that there's a way of doing star something or other that they don't know what your number is. Or you could send them an anonymous email. The kids said, Aaron has to hear. See, I want you to understand, Rabbi, I'm telling you, Tifa Hashkafa, all this stuff, I make a little sense, but I'm telling you, Tifa Hashkafa. Hashkafa is din v'cheshbon, is huge. The din is the bad stuff, and the cheshbon is all the ripple effects. Who is able to say Yodeinu lo shachas adam hazeh, like by the Egla Arufa? Who is able to say it? Everybody who's quiet in Lakewood, fathers and mothers, b'nei Torah, b'nei Torah. Everybody is quiet. Everybody doesn't pressure. Rabbi Shekalevsky and Rabbi Weisberg and the committeemen and they call up the freeholders and say, well, what kind of a business is this? Just to go like automaton, when it comes to vote, that Aaron can say, I got them all in my pocket. That's it. Finished. There's going to be a cheshbon and a cheshbon on this. That's why Nitnan Nevul is shaitim. His man Azed, Chazal say, I'm your shaita. Baby, I'm your shaita. I'm not looking for COVID. Is this respectable for a guy 63 to talk, to make latzanas, to make invitations, to this or that? I'll do what it takes to get you to listen to this program, even if you're saying I'm a Michiganer, as long as you're here. Because after 120 years, they're going to tell you, you heard it. You heard it from that shaita. You heard him. Did you do it? He got programmed by the Gedolei Olam of the Dar Shavar. He's talking to Vam Shaltam. You don't like his presentation? It's not mechubadik enough? Adrabah. The Rosh Yeshiva of Lakewood are very mechubadik. Aaron Kotler, the CEO, is very mechubadik. David Liechtenstein is very mechubadik. Let them go and say it in a very mechubadik way and just do it. Since they're not, like Bob Grant, the late, great Bob Grant used to say, nobody's saying these things. Somebody's got to say these things. And since nobody's saying it might as well be me. So I'm only here because the Gedolim was scraping the bottom of the barrel already over a half a lifetime ago when they gave me this job assignment. So I'm sorry if you don't like my way of presenting. Some people will appreciate it a little bit to lighten up things. But I'm telling you what's got to be done. And I'm telling you, we're going to be held accountable. And I'm telling you right now, there's no question in my mind that various diseases, various machlas, various kids going off the derech, various arayas going on at all ages, various people who are becoming addicted to pornography, so we have to have on the internet, fight the Shmutz and all those advertisements every 2 minutes. Maybe if we would stand in front of the library and take a fight to Shmutz, maybe if our representatives, Aaron Kotler, would call our representatives, the freeholders and the committeemen and Allah's Schwarz Yor, and would say, we're not going to take it anymore, maybe something would change, okay? So, moving right along, we're up to number 5, Asconim and grasshoppers. Now you ask, what's that all about? Well, I'll tell you what that's all about. The Gemara says in Megillah, Haman minat Torah minayin. How do we see that Haman is alluded to in the Torah? Hamin ha'etz. Mordechai minat Torah minayin. Morderor. The Targum says Mordechai. So we see an allusion, a hint, a reminiscence to Mordechai in the Torah. Esther minat Torah minayin. V'hanoichi haster aster panai. I'm going to hide my face. This is Esther. So Rabbi Sai. Many of you probably listening, many of you are listening. I freely say, much, much bigger Talmidei Chacham than me, much more educated than me. I only have this little niche in 2 areas, in Askanis on the morality thing, and in my Machshavetik Divrei Torah that I'm Machadish, there I stand strong. And as Barry Farber used to say on his radio program in the 70s, I'll stand with a broken bourbon bottle on the ramparts, and I will fight off the enemy. That means I will fight for the veracity of what I'm saying, cite in my Machshava Teres, the 81 of which approximately are archived on Kol HaLashon, 718-906-6400. Press 1 for English, 3 for the category, and 33 for my shiurim. These two areas, and anything else, forget about it. But these are the two things I concentrate on, Rabbi Say. And I'm afraid of no man. Because I got the Hurmana, I have it Biksav, Shlucha Derbertziner B'chol Asa V'Asa, from the Friedika Kasha V'Rov, the Godel Rabbi Victor Miller wrote to Rav Yitzfei in 1984. Geva B'Giborim, Kol Dibur of Dibarti Moisez Man Rab. So I've got that in my back pocket already for over half a lifetime. Rabbi Say, I'm not boasting, I'm just explaining to you because we're getting new listeners all the time. And they might not understand what's going on there. So I've got to bring people up to speed. So I've got to be a little bit of a broken record. So you'll excuse me. Now, we know there's a story of Avner. Avner was a Talmud of the Ramban Nachmanides, and he became an apostate. He became a koifer beika. He became a troublemaker. He became, what in Williamsburg we would say, he became a troublemaker. And he told the Ramban that he doesn't believe. So whatever, the Ramban says, what do you mean? What don't you believe? He says, you, Rebbe, said to me, everything, every item, every issue, and every person is merumas in the Torah. He says, that's ridiculous. Where are my merumas in the Torah? So he showed him a pasuk in Azino that Avner realized that referred to him, and according to the way the legend goes, he became a Baal Tshuva. I'm just bringing this to your attention to bolster a homiletic drush vort that I'm going to say. So let us ask the question, Askonim minateron minoyin. Wo zet min in the Teira der Sheres, maybe the Sheres Peira Reish V'La'ano, but the Sheres, but it's a wilde with the Askonim, wo zet min das in the Teira? Ob sie veranen a Bria von Askonim, was mir genutzt sei, bikol eis, bikol zman, durch und durch die ganze Geschichte in der Historie von Klal Yisrael, where is the Sheres for Askonim? The answer, I believe, is in last week's Parsha, the Mרגלים. The Mרגלים are think about it. Who is running Klal Yisrael? Abraham and Yitzchak and Yaakov were running it. Moshe and Aaron took over the job. In between was Amram and the Shehiftei Kol. But there were no real Askonim. They were Gedalim. The first time we see Askonim, and it's written in such detail in the Torah, it goes on. And the various Midrashim Chazal and Drashas that we learn out, these were the first Askonim. Chashuvim, Anshe Shem, top of the line, Yen Nesiim, not Nesiim, but Chashuvim, whatever they were. Big stuff. And then what happened? So the Swan told us all kinds of things. They met Egin the Cheshbenis. We did it for Klal Yisrael. It's better that we should be spiritually pure and not have to go and be involved in agrarian society, meaning agrarian as related phonetically to agriculture. We'll become farmers and this and that. Like remember Rashbi, when he came out of the cave, he said, everybody's going around and they're planting and they're sowing and they're reaping. What's that time with Torah? Right? So maybe that was Rabbi Shmuel, was Machlekes, right? So Bekitza, but Rashbi at a certain point when he came out, they looked askance. Back to the cave for another year. So the point is, Rabbi Say, these Askonim were choshev of people. But look what happened. In the very first job assignment that they got, you notice it doesn't say, I heard from a Lubavitch rabbi, Merazik, his past Shabbos. I think his name is Merazik. Maybe I'm mispronouncing it. He's an Enkel of Vilna Gaon, and he's a Lubavitch Chosid, a big Talmud Chacham. He sits and learns. I heard in Chaim Berlin. So I heard him say Maybe he even said it from the Rebbe. That it doesn't say anywhere in the Parsha Meraglim. It doesn't use the word Meraglim. It only uses that by the people Yeshua sent. Moshe sent L'Suas Haaretz. But we always refer to them as Meraglim. I think we refer to them as Meraglim because we can't refer to them as Askanim. But basically, they weren't doing what they were sent to do. And Meragel might even read that they spoke bad and this and that, whatever. Be that as it may. The point over here is, they were Isla Surah Sa'aretz. And they came back with this big negative thing. When did they come back with it? Tisha B'Av, and Leil Tisha B'Av became a Bechil L'Doiris. You understand, from the bad Askonis, they implanted a poison pill in the calendar, in the historic calendar of Klal Yisrael, that Tisha B'Av, throughout the generations, the worst of the worst things happen. And it traces its way back. It's nishrash in the Askonim / Meraglim. And if you go into it a little deeper, what's with the Meraglim? The grasshopper mentality. They said they were big giants. They looked at us like grasshoppers, and we felt like grasshoppers. They had to get beaten, the Kotler Rebbe says. They had to get beaten. Who is you with the Rhein just with the grasshoppers? Where's your Aziz de Kedusha? You're shlucha der Abonon from Moshe Rabbeinu, Olav HaSholem Rabin shall call B'nai HaGola, shall call HaHistoria. You're a shliach from Klal Yisrael to the Dordeya. You're a shliach from Kutsha Barichu. What is this grasshopper business? So today it tells us that really, if you look at a lot of these Askanim, the Chanfonim, it's a bit of a grasshopper. You go to Como, you coming, there's the clap, because they got $50,000 in Magen David. And he's bargaining a few crumbs, a few $1 million. So we have to clap. We have to lek, chanfa. Really. David, we have to have a program on this in the radio. Maybe it's not their fault because Yehuda Levin said, and maybe he substantiated a little. It makes sense. This is their shirish. So they have a pre-predilection, a pre-genetic disposition, askanim to be meraglim. Their tongue should be so long. And they should be punished, etc., etc. David, we have to do a program on Askanim. And with all the lip stuff to explain how higher and higher, that they're going to go higher and higher for the wonderful things they're doing. Yeah? Azeitage. Remember Shmuel Ben used to say, Azeitage? David, Azeitage? Yeah. Now, let's go weiter. So, when I was running for mayor in 1985 with Misporim, so I went to the Sharm Mitzion Balocha. He told me in 84 already, when I went in for a signature, he told me I never in my life got involved in anything politics. But you're coming to me with what's going on. I wasn't aware of the extent of the immorality in 84 when I was running for Congress. So he said to me, he told me, Rabbanim halten mit. He says, if you get a signature from River Fall Bloom, the Kasha Varov, my old friend, I'm signing. So I walked into him a couple of weeks later, and he smiled. He knew what I was there. I didn't even have to say anything. He took out his pen, and I handed him the paper, and he signed. A year later, based on encouragement from Miller, I ran for mayor of New York to be Moicha. And guess what? Lakewood, guess what? One of the things that led up to my race was, during the race, I discovered the fact that what they're doing in Lakewood now, they were doing in 1985 in the Borough Park Public Library and in all the Brooklyn libraries. They had a gay exhibits, a gay book list, Gay and Proud. I took that book list that was on off 13th Avenue in the Borough Park Library, and I brought it into the Derbertziner Rav. And this is what I mean by I had Shimmers, Rabbi say. And it was before Shabbos Shuvah. And the Derbertziner Rav said, you remember how he spoke? The Oberland, I will das haben, ich will das halten in der Hand, wenn ich ritze the Oilem of Shabbos Shuvah. He wanted to hold it in his hand. You understand? And it was published in the New York Post, and the columnist Ray Carrison put it on page 2. And the homosexual head of the Brooklyn Public Library, he got temporarily scared, and he pulled out the book lists. But then the ACLU told him, "Was macht sich Meshuggah with this Meshuggah Yehuda Levin? Put it back in. Nobody's going to do anything." Did Aguda sue? Did anybody say anything? Lubavitch, Borobak, the Hasidim, the Rebbes, Bob, the Andechtige Tag. And now history repeats itself. So at that time, I was running for mayor to be moich against Koch. In his visit to the gay synagogue, Beit Simchat Torah, and the book list in the New York Times, it shows the picture of me throwing that literature. I threw it across to Ed Koch. One of these weeks, I'm going to hold up the picture in front of you so you'll see the headlines. So Rabbi Sai, I went into the Shmutz and I discussed with him why I'm running against Koch. He wrote a letter in his handwriting, a long letter, a full page. Nispakashti. I wish he would have put in my name because I'm an egomaniac. He didn't put in my name, but Nispakashti. I was asked. And he wrote, I was asked about the mayor of Russia, and he brings down halacha l'maisa that he holds that the Ika Chil Hashem is Lama Yom Ragoyim. It's a message. It measures the level of Chil Hashem to a great extent with the Gentiles. And he said since the time Shavuot Umas are fighting against Koch, they refused to sign Koch's city contracts, the Salvation Army. Even the Catholic Church was considering not signing. That's a history here. They were going to give up hundreds of thousands or maybe millions of dollars not to sign, simply that they won't discriminate against people in employment based on their sexual orientation. I would bet the bank that if you could get inside and look at the contracts that Agudas Yisrael is signing for the government monies, I'll bet you dollars to donuts that there's stuff there that officially they're turning the other cheek, that they're not discriminating against the Chazarai. And if I'm correct, who knows what kind of a kitrug this is on Klal Yisrael? Think about it. Listen to this. There's nobody to say this except Yehuda Levin. Yehuda Levin is a hot dog fresser. Yehuda Levin has ADD. Yehuda Levin is far from a Talmud Chacham. So why is it that the village joker, Yehuda Levin, is the one saying this? I don't know. Because my Rebbes programmed me to say it. That's why I'm saying it. And I'll continue to say it as long as Hashem gives me koiches. Think out of the box. Very, very, very sight. So we now have a new shirish. The Askanim are grasshoppers. The grasshoppers means we're in Goles. We have to hunt for them. We have to give them awards. We have to bring the yeshivas. We have to, in Chassidus, we have to klatschen for them. They're clapping. They say klatschen. We have to klatschen for them. Weil jeder in der Weiße, sie sind nur Schuhe marieren. Und sie kommen ran in Rielsburg und wir gehen zu kommen und luchen. Jeder einer versteht, da viel begoyen. Sie verstehen, wir sind dann gegen alle die Schmutz. Wir stimmt für sie. Und wir leck sie. Und wir gehen sie alle verstehen, wir tun das für Geld. Leider, wir sind in Gules. That's why Hashem made so many millionaires and so many billionaires in the frum community. That we should have to depend on the government, so we have to kiss up to these lowlifes. And what about the kidduk of what it's doing to the kedusha of our kids and our families? Don't you understand? Oh, yeah, I'm a broken record. What could I do? So anyhow, we're shouting out to Aaron. Please do the right thing. Please do the right thing. By the way, you know, Ein Davar Chodesh Tachas Hashemesh, Chodesh Osam in HaTorah. You know that, the famous Chassam Sofer. So if we see there's a CEO in Lakewood, I have a riddle this week. Like Liechtenstein gives a riddle on headlines. I'm giving a riddle to the Lakewood Island in Teva. I showed you where the shirish of Askanim is in Meraglin. I'm asking, where's the shirish in our history of the yeshiva movement of the CEO of Lakewood? It's given a CEO in Kletsk, by the Elte Zayde in Slutsk is given, in Slabotke, the Avia Veis in Slabotke, in the side, in the Valdix is given a CEO, in Valozhnevsher, by Nitziv is given a CEO. Yeah, Take. I'm just a riddle. I'm sure we'll probably find out that there was such a thing. Avade. Aber tut alles, was getan, die Zeit von Rav Kotler. Rav Kotler, the Isha MS, they were so makbid on pennies and paying tolls, and they shouldn't have an artist rendition with an extra tree in the picture. Because Isha MS, fire. If Rav Aaron would have been alive, this Chazarai would have been going on in Lakewood. Rav Aaron would have been outside the library, I bet you. Rav Aaron would have been. Remember, I got the psak from Moshe. Why do I talk with such gaiva? I got the psak from Moshe. I was the catalyst. It wasn't even Rev Avigdor Miller. It wasn't a Derbertziner Rav. I went to Rev Miller, and a little bit, if I could say so, I told the story in the past, I'll tell it again for those who don't know. I twisted his arm, and he said, okay, make an appointment to Reb Moshe, I'll go. He wasn't happy about it. The Maisa landed up that we sent a letter to Reb Moshe. It was signed by Rav Avigdor Miller, the Derbertziner Rav, and the Linzer Rav. And because of that, we have a psak from Reb Moshe, Lakewood Rabbanim stationery, which people like to ignore. It says, he was saying it's a mitzvah shabufay. He would say probably you should go out in front of the libraries and protest. He said you have to push the politicians to vote against the Shmutz. And then he said something else, which is why I believe he would have gone outside the library and told people to go outside and call a press conference, because he finishes off, David, we're not haters. To show everybody, we loathe, we abominate that which is toyeva. You understand? That's what we're supposed to do. The reason I have such azus and I talk like this, and I stand up and I challenge, and I scream and I yell, is I got that letter from Rabbi Moshe. On the very day, in the very same few hours that my first son had Kedushas Habris Yisoid, my son Yosef Aryeh, the lion of Yisoid, that was the name I was giving him, and literally 2 people who were at my bris, they went to pick up the letter from Moshe that I was the catalyst in getting. Through this letter from Rav Avigdor Miller, signed by Rav Avigdor Miller and the Derbertziner and the Linzer Rav. And that's why I feel I have to do it. I feel it's my job assignment. By the way, why don't you send a letter, an email, a voice to David Liechtenstein and tell him, David, be a big boy, stop adulterating, give the unexpunged, unadulterated, unexpurgated total hour and 15 minutes that Yehuda Levin had to debate with you, and the total amount of time that you discussed the Shchita, the Chassidus Shchita, or debated with Rabbi Shame, and put it out. Like he promised me, keep your word of it. He said, I'm going to put it on as a link that whoever sees the program, the May 18th program, Yehuda Levin, with Chaim Rappaport, they'll be able to hear the whole debate, the whole discussion I had with David. But he's scared to do it. All the king's millions and all the king's billions, he doesn't have the security to put it out there and let you, the Olam, decide. We present, you decide. But he's being foxy and he's not letting the presentation and your decision, he's deciding for you. It looks like the implications on a deeper level, psychologically, he obviously feels that you are not capable of deciding, or you might decide the wrong way. So he'll decide for you by being selective. So let him put on a disclaimer. This is David Liechtenstein. The following program, to the best of my ability, with my nagias, is how I perceive halacha and the headlines, and how things should be going. And by the way, I'm not a lib, and I'm insulted that Yehuda Levin compared me to Shmuley Bateach, or criticized me for feeding, F-E-T-E, feet, to making parties for Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton in Lakewood and Muncie, and wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars of Jewish money. To what avail? Rabbi Sai, let me tell you what the Gentiles are doing. 30 Mishkevei Zacha and transgendered who are married. Go and you'll find it on the video. Go on the internet if you have a heta and write 30 homosexuals and transgenders. Call out in the state capitol in California against the bill that prohibits reparative therapy. In other words, they make bills like they're doing in New Jersey and they're doing in New York, California, that you shouldn't even be able to take an adult or a child to change, quote unquote, his heterosexual gefühl, homosexual gefühl, to bring him back to heterosexuality. So these people married with kids, men and women, transgender, homosexual, are there to say this. But David Liechtenstein said it's scientifically proven, this and that. So the answer they'll give is, these people were not, and we're talking about the Hechetimsa. The Hechetimsa of the people who cannot in any way be cured. Remember, Shmuel Kamenetsky and 200 Rabbanim and other Chashuvei Ha'ida signed something around 5 years ago about the importance of reparative therapy, and Rabbi Shmuel Kamenetsky gave a haskama to the book Light in the Closet by Arthur Goldberg, who headed Jonah until he was sued in court, and he had to close it down. He was sued by the homosexual who bears the same name as me, the Lubavitch 11, a real oisvav. But I'm explaining to you, this is not something that I'm grasping out, and I'm not saying it's easy. And I started to tell you last week, I don't know if I did. We have to tell these homosexuals come out with bechia, that we try to understand the gewaldige taivas, the gewaldige challenges you go through 24/7, that you could lead a life, you could be concerned to your life of how do you pronounce it? Unrequited love. That means your gefühl, your taiva cannot be realized, because it's also just like somebody who wants to have an adulterous relationship or a relationship with an underage child. We feel your pain, and we believe Emunah Shalem is the only way that this doesn't have to be, but it's a good way of explaining it, that all of us, according to our Arizal Gilgulim, and in prior lives, obviously we had to rectify certain things with our ayahs, and that's why some people come back with a taina, some people with a taiva for mishkevei zacha, and some people come back with a taiva for adultery, etc., etc. But I explained this to a mishkav zacha who's married with a kid or with kids, and I told him, I was crying on the phone when I told him, what you're doing, you are curing so many people from sicknesses, from diseases, so many people because of you, so many people. This is Yehuda Levin, wishing you a guten Tamid.